future plans after I close on the 29th. So I would like to share your experience with them, to encourage everyone in this world to do what you did. Well, the letter didn't come. I can see her struggling over one page and rubbing out a line because she didn't spell the word correctly and going over the next one. But she can take a piece of canvas, a piece of paper, and do miracles with it. But because she's restricted in writing a letter, she didn't send the letter. But the essence is this. She is now a divorced girl with a little boy, handsome little fellow. Well, when you're living alone and you need money and you have a child to support and you have a home, all the things, and the money isn't coming in, then you're up against it. So she said, I blew my top, as you're told in the Psalms to do. She said, then I applied this principle, and I assumed that I had exactly what I need plus and plus. Then I got a call from First National City Bank of New York City. Now that is the second largest bank in our country. Bank of America comes first, they are second, and Chase Manhattan is third. Given me an order. She has no agent. This is an unsolicited statement. An order for $5,000, which she can execute and deliver within a month. Well, the First National City Bank of New York is not going to be hard-pressed to pay her immediately $5,000. If she called them and told them to pay it in advance, they would willingly pay it in advance. And she said, I can execute that order in 1 month. But I want the details. I had hoped she would send me, as she promised last Friday, but knowing her restriction concerning the use of words. She can use the brush and use the pen and use the pencil, but she's limited in the use of words. Eventually, she will send it, but I had hoped to have it by tonight. So I could give you exactly what she did. But this is what I do. Having convinced myself through experience, I have come to the conclusion that because I am aware that I am, that is God. For if by him all things are made, and without him is not anything made that is made, and I start from scratch, only imagining a state, and then I boldly assume that it is real, that I am actually experiencing that state now. And then in the not distant future, that state crystallizes in my world. Well, then I have found God. I have found the source of the phenomena of life. My only concern then is to share it with others and tell them, for they're all one. We are one. No one is greater than the other, not fundamentally. In his claims of what he is in the world of Caesar, he has more money, or he has so-and-so and so-and-so, but basically the same creative power in the man tonight behind bars serving life is the same creative power of the one who sentenced him to life. It's the same being. There is only one God. Hear, O Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. And the word translated, the Lord, is Yod He Vav He. Properly translated is I am. When you go unto the people of Israel, and they ask you, what is his name? And you claim that the God of Abraham, and the God of Jacob, and the God of Isaac sent you. You say unto them, I am has sent me. That's my name forever. And by this name I shall be known throughout all generations. But man finds it difficult keeping the tense, and so he speaks of thou art, or he is, and he never actually comes down to the fundamental and knows that I am. I am the cause of the phenomena of my life, good, bad, or indifferent. I have to live with it and change my assumptions if I would change the world in which I live. But now, can I help a seeming other? I say you are myself pushed out. Can I help another? Yes, because there's only one. If your request of me comes within the framework of the golden rule, something that I would like done to me, then I can willingly help you. If you ask of me that which does not come within the frame of the golden rule, do not ask it of me. I grant you complete freedom to go elsewhere and go to anyone who will tell you they can do it in spite of what he said. Go ahead. But if anyone asks of me any request, all that I do is this. It's so simple. We are told in Scripture, whatever we ask of him, knowing that he hears it, it shall be done for us. If we know he hears it. Well, can you imagine you seated here on the surface of your being, a rational being, knowing something that the depth of your own being that encompasses you doesn't know? So you know, and you think, well, he doesn't know. Well, read that in the story of Ezekiel. You'll read it in the 38th chapter. And these are the elders of Israel that went into the dark room. And they are carving on the walls all gruesome things. And they said within themselves, the Lord does not see us. And the Lord is speaking to his prophet Ezekiel. And he said, the elders of Israel say that I do not see them. And watch what they're doing, making all these abominable things within the great cavern. They will all reap them. Because I see everything that the elders of Israel see. But they think because it's dark and it's a cavern, no one knows what he's doing. That God doesn't know it. I have said time and again, there is no fiction in this world. You might have heard the story, and you read the story, concerning the sea-jacking of the Queen Elizabeth. You might have read the article in Time that some girl at Hunter College wrote that story in detail. And she was so shy, when it came to the point to be read, she could not read it. She's a shy, sweet lady with a gift of writing. She wrote that in detail, including those who seemingly participated, a terminal case in cancer, and one who is running away from the law, who has not a thing to gain, and therefore is quite willing to blow the Queen Elizabeth with 2,200 souls aboard. And everything is completely in detail in her fictional story. If imagining creates reality, there is no fiction. So, someone expressed her thought and called the captain while at sea and demanded $1 million and would settle for $350,000. Well, it must have cost them, I should say, more than $1 million to stop that huge hulk in mid-Atlantic and then feed 2,200 people 4 times a day for the extra meals that they would have coming to them. Plus all the things that, you put it all together, it would cost more than $1 million. And a little girl possibly writing this for her PhD, or writing it for some reason. And she writes it in detail. They gave her name, so you can contact her. They gave the school is Hunter College in New York City. And everything in detail is told in that story. So I tell you, you sit down and write fiction. Need not put it down. My friend wrote fiction. She had a large sum of money coming in. And she went to town within herself, and she wrote in herself, and blew her top, as it were. Thank you, Harry. Thank you. Didn't drink enough tonight. So she, in the depth of her own being, conjured the sum of money that she needed. Beyond, always go beyond. So we are told in the psalm, be angry, but sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be silent. Yes, blow your top, but do not let the sun go down upon your anger. Be silent as you commune with self. You don't commune with another, for the self of man is God. So be angry, but sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed. Not communing with another, and then you actually know exactly what you want. And in that state, fall asleep. And in a way that no one knows, and you, in your surface mind, you do not know, it will all come to pass. Everything in the world is created this way, but man does not know it. Who knows tonight who is treading the winepress that is going to cause a change of mind in tomorrow's world? But when they do it, they are intense in the doing it. If you are lukewarm, you're told in Scripture, I'll spew you out. Would that you're either hot or cold. But because that you are lukewarm, I will spew you out. You can't do anything if you're lukewarm. You must be intense about it. You want to be rich? All right, can be rich. You want to be known? You can be known. No matter what you want, but you must be intense about it. And then commune with your own heart upon your bed, and then let it drop. You'll read that in the 4th Psalm, the Psalm of David. So I say to everyone here, believe me, your own wonderful I amness, your consciousness, your wonderful human imagination, that is God. And all that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. So you can change the shadow if you change the object, for you are the light. He said, I am the light of the world. Change the object that you're holding within yourself and identifying yourself with it. Change that object, you're light enough, and you'll cast a new shadow upon the world. So you say, I am, and you name it. And then you say, I am unemployed. No, I am gainfully employed. Making more than I've ever made before. Don't ask yourself how, why, and through whom. That is not your conscious reasoning mind's concern. If you take the intellectual background, the educational background of those who are making top money in the theatrical world, I doubt that they could pass any college examination. I don't think they could pass any entrance examination to college. Yet they're making $1 million, $2 million a year. Do you think Bob Hope could pass today's examination for entrance into college? Well, all of his material is written for him anyway. Can't even write that. But he has millions, all right, because that's how he dreamt. May I tell you? I know the background of the man. A friend of mine who is now gone from this world played in vaudeville with him. And he would borrow from my friend every week a sum of money because he had to go to that post office and buy a postal money order and sent to his bank. He borrowed money that was interest-free, because he was sending in money that was not interest-free. He had to send a certain sum of money every week, and he would send it into his account. And borrowed from my friend Harry Webb, who had a band, and they played together. Not in the same act. Harry had his own act. He has a small band. And Harry was the outgoing personality who didn't care about money, and so he wanted money. Hope wanted money. He would loan him the money. He always paid it back the next week and borrowed it again, because he had to have so much in that bank every week. And when they would go into a restaurant and food was left over, like bread and butter, who took it all home? Bob Hope. Bob took all the buns, all the rolls, everything that was there uneaten. He paid for it, and you paid for it. You don't want it, Harry, do you? No. All right, so he took it home. So he has 400 million, so they claim. That was his goal in life. If that's your goal, have it. I speak of another goal. The goal of awakening to who we are. When man awakens from this dream, the whole vast world and all that it contains is as nothing to the being that you are. You came down from heaven, where the whole is yours. As you're told in the 50th Psalm, if I were hungry, I wouldn't tell you, for the world is mine, and all within it. The cattle on 1,000 hills are mine. So why should I tell anyone of my need when it's all mine anyway? I would slay and eat. When you awaken, you don't ask anyone if you awaken from this dream of life. But while you're in it, all right, we're one. This little hand of mine, if it begins to itch here now, it's easier for me to take this hand that is not attached to this and scratch it, than to try to bend this thing out of shape to scratch the back of it. I could rub it here, but why not? This is easier. And take a part of my own being to ease the itch. We're all one pushed out. So you can do it. Ask anyone that you trust. May I tell you, he isn't, if he knows how to pray, he isn't going to burst any blood vessel. He isn't going to get down on his knees and pray to any external God if he knows how to pray. He isn't going to beg of anyone in this world. What he will do, he will simply represent you to himself as one telling him that you have what you asked of him. And when he is satisfied that you told him that you have it, don't ask the second time for the same thing, because he is not going to listen to you. He heard it, he is still hearing it, and he will continue to hear it until that which he has heard is perfectly externalized. So don't think you need several treatments. That's a lot of nonsense. Treatments for what? It either is or it isn't. So when they start getting you on the hook and say, no, I think you'll need more treatments. You'll need more treatments. She or he or the crowd, they do not know what they are doing. When you pray, go within and close the door of the senses. Deny all that seems so obvious. And your Father who is within will reward you openly. But commune with self, for you and the Father are one. So you commune with self. And what does he tell you? Exactly what was asked of you. He heard it, and he has all the ways and means that you on the surface of your being know not of. He will do it. You can ask anything of one if it comes within the framework of his code of ethics. Don't ask anyone who knows how to pray something that does not come within his golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Just as simple as that. And most of the requests would come within that rule. And so you simply hear it. And then you drop it completely. And in the depths of your own being, you're still hearing it. And the Father knows all means, all ways. And so he singles out the best way to externalize it. Here in New York City, many years ago, this lady, a lady of considerable means, She left her home in New York City and went off to Paris with her 2 children, leaving her home and her maid. Before she returned, the maid took all of her furniture and took it away. When she returned, the apartment was there. Rent was paid every month. But there was no furniture, not a thing in it. She employed a private agency, told the police department, told all the authorities in New York City, and plus her private agency. At the end of a few months, they did not turn up one thing concerning that stolen property. She came to see me. I said, all right, you're seated there and I'm seated here in my apartment. Now, you are not seated in my apartment. You are seated right now. Close your eyes. You're seated in your own apartment. And you had a grand piano? She said, no, I had a piano, but it wasn't a concert grand. It was grand, but not a concert grand. And on it, I had my pictures of my 2 children. And I had pictures of the wall. She told me what they were. And the furniture, I said, all right, refurnish that place as you left it. You have a memory. She did. Now, when I stopped talking, it's because you have refurnished that place to me. Now, you're going to go in, and you aren't going to see your apartment from my apartment. You're in your apartment. And you can feel your chair, and get off your chair and feel the piano, and see the children, the pictures of the children, and that's what you're going to do. She agreed she would do it. And then, we simply broke the spell. What did it take? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? That week, she went to her bank on Madison Avenue. As she was coming out of the bank, she had a past history of a little mental state where she was put away for a while because she needed psychiatric treatment. And the bars on this window reminded her of her past history and therefore addled her for a while. So she came onto Madison Avenue and turned south instead of turning north, where she should have. When she discovered her mistake, she was at the end of the block. When she got there and discovered her mistake, she looked down, and 2 very familiar ankles were standing right before her. She came up to the face, that's her maid. And the maid spotted it and started to scream. She went over to the maid and grabbed her before the light changed and hailed the oncoming taxi and said, you're taking me right now. And the maid, who could have killed her, she was so big and strong, was so reduced to impotency because of the discovery. And the maid took her to the place where she had stored that furniture. She said, I'm not bringing action against you. I want my furniture. And she got it back into her own apartment within the week. A seeming mistake was the way the Father laid her. All I ask is to go to the end. If I go to the end and give thanks to the end and for the end, it's done. Now let the one in the depths of my own being devise the best means to take me to that end. The end is where I start. The end is my beginning. And that is a story that I know from personal experience. So do not attempt to devise the means and tell the one that you ask to pray for you how it should be done. He will lose all interest and turn his back and say, go elsewhere. You don't go into a doctor's office and tell him what he should do. If you go to him because you trust him, well then you either got to trust him and continue, or you're going to leave him. Well, if you go to someone that you really believe who knows how to pray, don't tell him how to do it and what means should be employed in order to do it. He is going to go to the end if he knows how to pray. The end is where we begin. In my end is my beginning. And we're always ahead of our evidence. So I go to the end. I see the whole thing done and then drop it and let it happen in my world. So to come back, the I within you now, and you say I, no matter how little you have thought yourself so far, May I tell you, you are the infinite God. And when the story of Jesus Christ repeats itself within you, you will know it's all I. No one called Jesus is going to appear. He is not going to push any stone away from you when you come out of that tomb. And then you'll know the words of John.